move into swearing in of 3 full-time firefighters. Mayor.
Very pleased tonight to be swearing in 3 new full-time firefighters. Right here. I'm going to have Alan J. Intihar, please. And if you have Alan, if you have someone to hold the Bible, it'll be pinning as well.
I have my wife for this.
Come on up. Just a little bit of tight squeeze in there. Where do you want us to stand?
Wherever you want to stand.
Right here, Joe?
Just lay back in there you go.
Well, if you just want to face sort of this way so we can get a decent picture. Place your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Alan J. Intihar.
I, Alan J. Intihar.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
And that I will, in all respects, faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter.
And that I will, in all respects, discharge my duties as a firefighter.
Of the City of Wickliffe Fire Department during my continuance in said office.
Of the City of Wickliffe Fire Department. And my continuance
in said office.
In said office.
Congratulations.
John. Break up. Not very much. Okay, break
Congrats. Joseph Islandfield, please. Place your Bible in hand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Alan J. Intihar. Oh, I'm sorry. Joseph Islandfield. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
And the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
And the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
And that I will, in all respects.
And that I will, in all respects.
Faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter.
Faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter.
Of the City of Wickliffe Fire Department during my continuance in said office.
To the City of Wickliffe in continuance of my said office.
Congratulations. Okay, Joseph M. Pavlonis, please. Place your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Joseph M. Pavlonis.
I, Joseph M. Pavlonis.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
And the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
And the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe.
And that I will, in all respects.
And I will, in all respects.
Faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter.
Faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter.
Of the City of Wickliffe Fire Department during my continuance in said office.
Of the City of Wickliffe Fire Department during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
I would like to say this is the first time in 11 years that we are able to hire full-time firefighters, and it's all because of that gentleman right there, Chief Jim Powers, for his endless hours working to get this grant together so we were able to do so. So thank you very much.
these guys went through an awful lot to get to these positions. We had 40 really good candidates. And thanks to civil service, who got the ball rolling for us, the former administration, the former council, and of course, you guys that have brought it forward and made this work. This is a big deal for us. It's a lot of momentum. Bringing 3 new guys after 11 years is going to make a significant difference in our department, and we're all pretty excited about it, so thank you.
Families, you don't have to stay, you guys can leave if you can do juice. Celebrate out there.
Congrats again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I called to order the Wickliffe City Council Meeting of February 26th. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bianca.
Here.
Bogo.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Kosky. Levon.
Here.
Sakis.
Here.
Saloto. Here.
Approval of council meeting minutes of February 12, 2018. I have a couple of quick amendments before we put on motion. Received a note from the service director that during his report, this year approximately $60,000 in the reimbursement grant has been awarded. It's actually a $50,000 grant, as well as the current price, or the price anticipating salt. We're currently paying for salt is not $27.77, it's $26.77. So please note that change on your meeting minutes. As amended. I'll entertain a motion for the minutes as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Bogo to approve City Council meeting minutes of February 12, 2018 as amended. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bianca.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Good evening, everybody. So since the last report, we had the Euclid Avenue corridor meeting last week. A little bit of a smaller group than it was the month before, but had some new faces there. Again, I mentioned I sent out letters to majority of the property owners on Euclid Avenue. We got a few more folks in attendance, got some good feedback. And actually, Councilman Saloto's sister, one of the owners of Vittorio's, had talked to a few other business owners about forming a business advisory group, business advocacy group, some kind of, not a chamber of commerce, but a group of Wickliffe businesses that can be the voice for the businesses, you know, well beyond any one administration, any one board term. So again, something like that's going to take a while to get going, but we at least have someone that's willing to head that up and get started with that effort. The Provo House, I don't think I talked about this last time, so connected with some folks from the Habitat for Humanity during one of the Chamber of Commerce events, and you know, the lady told me that their construction crew, they're just waiting around until summertime essentially. So we're coordinating some efforts at the Provo House to get that cleaned up, painted, carpet, just to make it a little more presentable. We have 2 of the baseball leagues in there. We talked with Wickliffe forever about having them in there, or just thinking not as a profit center, but more of for our nonprofit groups, even if they only pay a couple $100 a year just for the upkeep of the building. And I talked about beautifying Euclid Avenue. This is one very easy way we can start doing that with not a lot of money. And again, to have these volunteers in place is a good effort as well. Did set a meeting with the contact I had from ADP Payroll Services. We're meeting in, I believe it's 2 weeks. Finance Director Doles did confirm that we did have ADP a couple years ago. Do you remember exactly when that was?
I think they switched in either 2011 or 2012.
Okay, so it's been a number of years, but again, it's good to review again. Did talk with Ann from Wickliffe Forever on Friday about them being the CDC, or Community Development Corporation arm of the city. Just like we have Keep Wickliffe Beautiful as our nonprofit, they can take funds differently than the city entity can. You know, but again, that's strictly beautification, litter control, which works out wonderfully. You know, Ann and I we're going to essentially come up with a list of 10 projects that could be completed, you know, mostly short-term projects, so that, you know, whether it's her or whether it's myself and her, we'll go out and solicit funds from some of these foundations it's on a different basis than, hey, just the city needs money, or from Keep Wickliffe Beautiful doing some different projects. So we're gonna start working on that. We already have about 3 or 4 ideas, written out. Friday, I met with engineer Formica and Jen Brown from his office, who helps with city development, city planning, searching for grants. We can be utilizing her at no extra cost, which we hadn't been really doing in the past. So it's not, we're not signing a new contract, especially since we work with CT consultants, we have her at our disposal. Not, it's a full-time person, they support a lot of other communities, but she already gave me a couple good ideas, and this was just on Friday afternoon. We're going to be meeting again just to figure out how they can best help us with some of these efforts. I think I mentioned in the previous meeting, I had spoke to Ed Clow, the North Perry mayor. They had a similar shared economic development role. He said he liked, at one point they did have the person was employed by one of the municipalities, which was different than what we discussed. So there was a conflict of interest in that sense. But he said other than that, it did work very well for some of those smaller communities. Board docs. I just failed to mention this in my last report, but I did have a conversation with someone from Board Docs, and we talked about this a while ago. We had maybe a 30-minute phone conference, a little mini presentation. And I believe it's still in committee, so just to give a couple highlights from that. And that was the sort of like the Google Docs for meeting minutes. So they can, it's only 5 or 10 minutes to do the time stamping. It can be edited in real time. You can add a link to the website for the agenda. You can vote automatically on your device. Essentially each person would have a device, whether it's a laptop or a tablet, whatever it may be, to view that current document. The directors can upload their monthly reports there's 2 different versions, one for $4,000 a year, one for $8,000 a year. And the lady said, I'm not sure exactly what we're spending on printing, but nonetheless you see a cost savings pretty quick because you're not printing anything anymore. Everything's on the device, everyone has, and it's pretty neat. You can do 3 different tiers, so you have public content, admin content, and then executive content. So let's say if I'm having a meeting with Councilman Biondelillo, and it's not something that falls under sunshine laws, you and I can have a dialogue, have meeting notes in there. Then if it's something we need to bring it to the finance committee, for example, we can just slide those notes over and add it to that committee, change the settings. So I'm not going to be the one using it, but I believe it's something we should take the next steps of, okay, discuss if we were to do this, would the city buy a tablet for each person? Would we have a TV mounted on the wall somewhere so the public, because again, if we're not printing anything, we're not going to print copies for anybody. You'd be looking at, everyone in the audience would be looking at a TV or a screen somewhere. So just to handle the logistics of how that would work, I think it's the direction we need to move, just for efficiency purposes. It is double encrypted. There's a whole lot of other facts I can get into, but won't take the time now. But I suggest that I believe it's still in committee, so I just suggest we have a conversation about that again in the next few weeks and decide if it does make sense, what to move forward on. And that concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, City Director, Councilman Sackett?
So as far as the board docs, yes, the school board does it where they have a projector so the audience can see them. And from what I've heard from them, they love it. And I'd say it makes the most sense in the world. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just trying to get, so it's a Google Docs based?
No, it's not based by Google at all, but just most folks know what Google Docs is, so it's similar to that.
All right.
Much more robust.
I was just trying to figure out, can people see them on their personal devices?
Oh yeah.
Having to get a screen in here.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. There's like the public content, so anybody would have a link.
Down, yeah.
So instead of having the minutes, like we have a link for the minutes now on the website, which anybody can view beforehand. You would click on that link and it would pull up the public content.
Right.
Of whatever it would be the same. It would look the same. It'd just be a link that directs you to that site. But yeah, if anyone in the audience wanted to pull up their phone and look at it, or if I wanted to have it on my laptop and I said, hey, don't buy me a device, but we have a couple tablets.
Right. Okay.
But we can do it however we want, essentially.
I was just trying to figure out if it was a closed loop and you had to have it.
But no, not outside. It's a web-based program, so you can access it from wherever.
Makes sense.
Any other questions or comments for the Mayor, City Director? Seeing none. Moving on to the reports of communications from the Director of Law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Kind of touching on the economic development that we were just talking about. The current contract we have with our current economic development director was set to expire on it's April 30th of this year. We were currently on a new year-to-year annual basis with him. It just required 30 days notice for termination. On February 13th, the mayor did send written notification that the contract would not be renewed. So that has been taken care of. So as of April 30th, or I should say May 1st, we will not have an economic development director. So that's kind of timeline with you folks. Only other thing I want to mention, Councilman Biondello reached out to me last week about these recent tragedies we've had in the schools. He had some questions for me. Was talking about some legislation some other states are putting forth to address this. I believe he said that he spoke to Chief Ice about this as well too. A lot of the things we talked about were changes to the judicial system or to that affected the courts, and I kind of explained that there's not too much we can do on a city level as far as laws that control the courts or what victims are entitled to, but that is handled through the state our state legislators. So I did say if anyone does have concerns about that, it really should be addressed to our state legislators that really can make the laws, that change some things there. But I just wanted to point out that he was very concerned about a lot of this stuff. Well, that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Director of Law? Communications with the Council President, I have none. Any additions or amendments to the agenda? Under new business A, with city pay period adjustment. Are there any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Move on to administrators. Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to my monthly reports, like Councilor, next week I'll be interviewing candidates to replace our 2 dispatch vacancies. Also, I met with our civil service commission last week, and we're in the process of setting up an entrance exam and a sergeant's exam. We're going to meet, I believe, this Wednesday, kind of finalize that routine, or that process, I should say. Over the last couple of weeks since we last met, we only had just routine police activities, some domestic violence, some drunks, and some routine drug activities. That's all that I would have report this evening.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Councilman Bogo.
Yes, I got a phone call. I was wondering what people were our city council doing about the school shooting, asking what has our city. It was a younger, newer parent that moved into the city recently. And I did explain to her that we had a school shooting a number of years ago. But her concern was, what can city council do for the schools? And I said, I don't think we have any hearsay or anything that we can help them, other than if they come to us, we can do something for them if there's a need. But I told her that I would ask this question of our...
Well, years ago when we had full staffing, we did have a full-time SRO. It was Lenny Nasi. He worked out of the detective bureau on juvenile cases, and then he was a full-time SRO. Since our reduction in manpower, we no longer have that. We have 2 part-time SROs that had regular shift responsibilities, and they work night shifts, so it's on a very limited basis. Today, by chance, I happened to have a meeting with the superintendent of the Wickliffe schools, Mr. Spicia, and he was exploring a couple of potential options that he wanted to take back to the Wickliffe Board of Education. He and I discussed a couple of what those options would look like and the cost of those. So it's in his hands now. He's going to report back to the Wickliffe School Board, and we'll see if anything materializes out of that.
Sounds great. I felt bad because I didn't call you.
That's fine.
I feel good. I told her to come to the meeting. I don't know if she's here, but maybe she'll speak if she is. But at least she can go on the website and see it. It's great. So,
Councilman Sagas.
So I had a resident address me as well, and I know that I can say, if you want to tell the resident, there's a couple group PTO groups from Montcalm, Mater Dei, and Wickliffe getting together to discuss some devices they can use in the schools, how to get, you know, if the school can't pay for them, maybe to have fundraisers. So there's definitely together effort from all over, I would say, to start changing. We were talking with the fire chief about those things, so we're definitely woken up a little bit since then. So.
Any other questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Vice. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to make it clear that it took a team to get that grant. We had 13 people, either in the grant writing team, or doing interviews, or doing backgrounds, and 2 police detectives that also helped us. So it was more than just me. And that's good, because 13 people are a lot of my career staff. So they all had a vested part in picking these 3 individuals. Ultimately, I had to make the right decision because we had so many good candidates, but it was more than just me. These guys did a good job. Just want to make you aware of a very close call we had last Saturday night. We're up on I-90, and one of our vehicles got struck from behind. And we're very fortunate that vehicle got struck from behind. The car drifted off into our work zone and hit the back end of one of our pickup trucks. And thankfully it hit the pickup truck, because otherwise we probably would have had someone killed. So a little bit of damage is one thing, certainly losing a firefighter is another thing. So, you know, when they ask the public to get to the left, get out of the way, they still keep coming pretty close to us. And this time they veered right into the lane where our guys were working. So we were fortunate. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thanks, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to report.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. One thing to add to my written report. I attended a meeting today with Chief Powers and Chief Vice as well at ODOT. There was a preliminary meeting, design meeting for the bridge reconstruction of the Route 2 bridges over Warden Road. Apparently they're going to make that one, they're going to fill in the gap and make that one extra wide bridge there. But the main topic was traffic control and what the safety forces needed and what we thought we would need for our pedestrians and motorists. It looks like they're going to try to maintain one-way northbound traffic throughout that project, which could take up to 6 months, is what they said, but we don't believe it's going to be that long. And that's not going to happen until 2021, I believe, that construction. So it's down the road, but just so that we're aware.
So they had proposed closing Warden for a little bit.
Actually, their proposal was to completely shut it down through the whole construction, but our safety forces kind of had a little problem with that. So
a little bit. That was good. Okay. Any questions or comments for Councilwoman Bukowski?
I spoke with you earlier today. I wanted everyone to be aware that in the News Herald and in the Plain Dealer yesterday, the City of Wickliffe has just completed a master plan, and I think that would be something that all of us should probably take a look at, because they have a lot of similar issues. Small homes, wanting to build up their industrial area, so that might be something we want to look at. But I was also asking Pete, I remember that we had a Euclid Avenue master plan years ago, and you said, where is it available?
That is available on the NOACA website, and actually the Euclid Avenue Development Committee that Mayor Barbish has been talking about, it has brought that up and put that on their little website. Is that Zillow that they put it on?
No, Trello.
Trello. Okay, Trello, yes. But if anyone wants to see it, I have a copy of it at the office. I can put it on a thumb drive for you. I gave a copy of it to the mayor a while back, so just give me a call.
Just something to consider. I mean, maybe it's not of any use to us anymore, but at least it's something to get ideas from. Thank you.
Councilman Jaworski.
Pete, you mentioned the Warden Road Bridge in State Route 2. Is there any talk of ODOT about the Lloyd Road Bridge as well?
There was not.
But there was talk about putting the noise barrier on the Warden Road Bridge, thanks to Councilman Mattai.
Wonderful.
And you'll be happy to know that that's planned.
Any other questions or comments for the engineer? Thank you, Mr. Kaminga.
Thank you.
Service Director Dan Rocha.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we're trying to take advantage of the good weather. We're out patching the roads. We're doing some road work, rebuilding catch basins. We've had our street sweeper out a couple of times. You know, the curb area gets quite messed up, so we've had that out a few days last week. I believe it was out today. The Warden Road Joint Repair Project from 2017 is supposed to start this year. It's going to be joint slab repair. They're scheduled to start saw cutting at the end of March, first part of April, weather depending. And that concludes my report for tonight.
Any questions or comments for the Service Director? Councilman Villalobos.
Yes, Joe, I'd just like to say thank you again for helping me. I had an issue with the resident calling me in the most opportune time when you were out doing some shopping, but you got in touch with me and we touched base, and I was very happy to say that the following Tuesday when work was available, you took care of one of the minor road repairs. And just to show everybody the level of service we get from all of our directors here in Wickliffe, again, I want to thank you for that, Joe, very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the Service Director? Thank you, Mr. Dan Rocha. Bill, Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just have one thing to add in my written report. I'm talking to the mayor about applying for a CDBG grant from the county, and I said go ahead with it, and I'll be working on that for next month. There's a meeting coming up. It's for residential roofs and siding, so we're working on that. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Mr. Stack. Recreation Director Stock.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just wanted to bring you aware of a class workshop that we have coming to the Community Senior Center. I just finalized details on the self-defense class. It's going to be taught by Total Control Academy owner Chris Oliver. It's going to be at the end of the month, March 31st from 2 to 4. So it'll be a hands-on workshop, and it's going to be $10 per person, and you can register with the Recreation Department.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Mayor?
Mr. Stopp, is that just a one-time?
It's
I know we spoke briefly, it was just one time to see how it goes.
It's a one-time 2-hour class, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Mr. Stopp. We'll now move into audience participation. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Please stand and state your name.
Anybody else?
And address. Mr. Martin.
It's going to be a habit here. Don Martin, 29105 Road, Wickliffe, Ohio. Longtime resident of Wickliffe. First, a humorous note. As I read through the minutes this evening or earlier this week, I found it very impressive that you've given your Charter Review Committee an ample amount of time to do their work when it says June of 2109. I think that should be 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was misprint.
I said a humorous part. Otherwise, I'm also compelled to speak tonight with the tragedy that just has happened in Florida. I want everyone here to know we are safe in Wickliffe schools. We were the first back in 1994 where we had a person walk into a building with a shotgun. We lost a very good friend, Pete Christopher. But he was doing what those teachers did. He got in the way of the shooter to prevent students from being harmed. Now we've come an awful long way since then. We have security measures in school that are well documented. We work with the police department quite closely to make sure that we're okay. The response time when we have an issue with the police or the fire department is incredibly good. We have the kids and the staff and even the board members have gone through the ALICE training. Alert, lockdown, inform, confront, and escape. Everybody knows what to do. No, we don't have armed teachers. I, for one, I don't have anything against that, but I don't want to put that burden on any teacher unless they are willing to do it. You know, that's something voluntary. But don't ever say it can't happen here. We found that out in 1994. And it's a sad thing that it's gotten worse. It's gotten more erratic and more damage is done. But Mr. Specia put out a little note about a week ago when a resident called him. It sent a message to Mr. Tomeyer asking, what do we do? And Dan, in his wisdom, did not try to answer it himself. He turned it over to the superintendent for that response. That I can show you that email if it's need be, but it went from how the kids are watched, how the kids are taken care of, how they are protected, and all of that. And I, as a board member for 25 years now, feel good about Wickliffe. But I know that no matter how hard we try, there's some crazy person out there, some zealot, who is intent to harm, and it could happen. So you're never perfect, but you try, and I'm very comfortable with where we are. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address with the City Council? Go ahead.
Erica Corbin, 30319 Regent Road. Been attending the Finance Committee meetings, and I know there's a lot of different ideas being bounced up on how to balance the budget, because it's a hard challenge you guys are facing this year. One of the ideas that was thrown out was changing the curbside leaf pickup with the service department. And I'd just like to give my thought on it as a resident. When I first moved here 6 years ago, every Wednesday they were coming around. And it got cut back. I'm not sure if it was due to staffing or budget. It got more challenging to keep the neighborhood cleaner because you didn't know exactly when they were coming. And if the weather's bad or I have to work late and it's dark, I can't always get it there to the curb on time. But people still manage to do the best that they can. One of the suggestions was to go down to 3 times during the season. Now, where we live on Region on the curve, people put their leaves out on a windy day. Everybody's, like, we get a large portion of the leaves in our yard and the neighbor's yard because we're right in the turf. And for us, with the amount of trees that we have in our yard, even with shredding the leaves and putting them on our tree lawn, if they come every week and a half, I've got our tree lawn, which accommodates 3 cars, 3 to 4 feet high already. And that's before the big fall of the season. So if they go to 3 times a year, or 3 times this season, my whole front lawn is just going to be piled up. Now I know I can bag it all and give it to Kimball. But guess what? All my neighbors, their leaves are coming into my yard too. So I'm cleaning up all their stuff. Because they're putting it out whenever. So as a resident, I would like to see either stay the way it is or eliminate it completely so people, I'll be honest, I don't want to clean up half my neighborhood or my front yard. And changing it to 3 times a year is going to make a lot more work for me. If everybody has to bag it, great, or just keep it the way it is. My feedback as a resident on what I do to try to keep our yards looking nice.
Would anyone else like to address the Wickliffe City Council? Go ahead, sir.
Ed Kovalik, Phillips Avenue. It was 4 Mondays ago, about 2:40 in the afternoon. I was coming out of the Dollar General, and as I was getting in the car, I watched the school guard cross 2 young boys back this way, southbound toward the middle school. And as she got them across, she turned back and a guy blew right in front of her and turned down Lloyd Road. Can we get whistles for these security guards? It's a good idea.
Councilwoman Koski.
Chief, I was wondering if, I heard of a similar incident up on Ridge Road. The guard was crossing and someone came a little too close. Can we get lighted signs at least for them? Because, in the mornings, it's still kind of dark and misty and...
A couple of guards asked for them to provide one. The guard you're talking about had one. I'm not sure if it's still operational or not, but she's got a sign that's got LED lights on.
Can I get the address?
Mr. Kovalik, can you provide your address, please?
Yes, sir, 298-31.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address with the City Council?
Mark Belich, 2476 Parsons Drive, Little Hills, Ohio. We should all remember here that our shooting here in Wickliffe in the school, the police had a minute-and-a-half head start. The contractor wasn't working on the street at the time. That shooter would have been well into school. And an outside presence made a difference there and gave him a head start. Okay?
Would anyone else like to address with the City Council? Anyone else like to address with the City Council? Seeing none, we'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. Committee of the Whole met on February 20th at 7 p.m. to discuss the Lake County permissive tax. Present, Yellow, Bogo, Jaworski, Koskov, Bond, Sakis, excused, Slato. Also present, Parvish, Ice, Ramika, Ambrosia, Strouser, Doles, Sack, Stop, Powers. The County Engineer Jim Gills wanted to inform the Council about the potential of a new $5 permissive motor vehicle tax that would generate approximately $1,250,000 per year. These generated funds are designated for infrastructure improvements to county roads and bridges. Material and labor costs have increased for the engineer's office, but revenue has been stagnant. State ratified the legislation in 2017 for this to be implemented, but the fee needs to be approved by the Lake County Commissioners, which may happen by the end of March. It has already happened, and has already been approved in Carmel and Geauga counties. This was only to inform the Council in case any residents had any questions. No action is needed by the committee. This item is reported out of committee, being adjourned 7:09, respectfully submitted. The Finance Committee met February 20th at 7:10. Purpose, 2018 pavement improvements, infrastructure projects, and the 2018 budget. Present, Yellow, Bogo, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Sakis, excuse, Slato. Also present, Parvish, Ice, Ramika, D'Ambrosia, Strouser, Doles, Sack, Stop, Powers. The Improvement Committee had approved the Maple Street project and it was moved to the Finance Committee. The street repavement would also coincide with the water line replacement. The total project cost is $799,000. The city's portion of the project would only be $261,400, of which $150,000 is an interest-free loan. The rest of the project cost would be paid for by the Lake County Department of Utilities and an Ohio Public Works Commission grant. The mayor was not in favor of this project as he would like to see us save money for future road projects such as Euclid Avenue or Lakeland Boulevard. Councilwoman Koski also was hesitant to pursue this project. City Engineer Famika reminded the committee that we were receiving a $250,000 grant for this project and it is a use it or lose it situation and it can't be used on any other streets this year. He notified the committee that Maple is in the top 10 of his list of the streets that need to be repaved and it is the last street with a 6-inch water line. All other water lines in the city are at least 8 inches. He also stated that he is working on grants and funding for Euclid Avenue and Lakeland Boulevard, but the funding for these may not be available for them 3 to 5 years. The city's cost to do these streets without any state funding would be in the millions of dollars range. Councilwoman Koski wanted to hear Councilwoman Saloto's opinion before we moved on with this project. This item will remain in committee. Mayor Barbish presented an updated draft for the 2018 budget. He did not make any updates on the revenue portion. He mentioned potentially limiting the number of times the service department will go around the city to collect leaves this fall to 3. He cut the labor negotiator line item down to $50,000, cut the golf course capital projects line item to $10,000, and removed any dollar figure from the senior center assistant line item. He also mentioned that there was a typo on the police department capital line item. It currently shows $210,200 and it should be $216,200. The cost of running Ginger Pool was discussed by the committee. The mayor said that he had some thoughts of opening up Ginger Pool to non-residents who have a physical disability, since the pool is ADA compliant. This could be looked into at a future date. Councilman Jaworski asked the mayor if he had explored outsourcing payroll. The mayor replied that he hasn't, but it is on his to-do list this year. Councilman Jaworski then asked Finance Director Telz if she could run her department with only 2 people instead of the current 3. Telz replied that it would be difficult, but yes, it could be done. Councilman Sakis asked if anyone had any opinion on moving some of the administrative assistants to part-time to save on money and health benefit costs. Finance Director Telz notified the committee that the city would have to work with the union if we did this, and the Affordable Care Act requires us to provide health care to employees that work an average of 30 hours or more per week. Council President Levin will call our labor negotiator to get some direction on what steps would need to take place if we were to implement this course of action. Council President Levin suggested adding $32,000 to the service department capital line item to purchase a pickup truck. He also suggested adding $200,000 to the fire equipment set-aside line item for an engine. There was no objection from any council members to these additions. Councilman Levin notified everyone that we will schedule another budget meeting the week of March 12th. This item will remain in committee, being adjourned 8:25, respectively submitted. Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you. Before this meeting, we had a Economic Development Committee meeting. In attendance were myself, Council President Levin, Council Persons Bogo, Saloto, Sakis, Bianalillo, and Koski, Mayor Barbish, Sack, D'Ambrosio, and Powers were also in attendance as well. And County Commissioner Jerry Serino and Mark Rantala, the Port Authority Executive Director, were here to talk to us about their idea of a West End economic development person. They said that this person would work for 3 cities. It would be Kirtland, Willowick, and Wickliffe. There was some interest from Eastlake, but they currently do not have it in their current budget to go along with that this year. The cost of such a person would range from $30,000 to $35,000 per year. That would include salary and all benefits. The Port Authority said they would make no money on this deal. It would just all be, just strictly the cost of that person. It would be a 2-year commitment. They gave an overview of the Port Authority and staff and their vision of how this position would function, and then discussion ensued from this committee. Meeting ended at 7 p.m. We will keep this item in committee to discuss further.
The Finance Committee I'm going to call to order a Finance Committee meeting on March 5th at 7 p.m. to discuss the 2018 budget and 2018 pavement improvements infrastructure project. That's March 5th, 7 p.m. Any other committee reports? Any commission reports? Seeing no one with the old business A. Mayor President Cameron Mays and Michael Cassadante to the Charter Review Commission. The term expires 6/30/2019. Last meeting, I guessed on the date because it wasn't on the agenda, and I said December 31st, 2018, which is incorrect. So I'm going to do another motion and correct the date to 6/30/19. So I'll entertain a motion to reaffirm this.
Second.
I'll entertain. Make a motion.
Okay, make a motion to mayor's appointment of Karen Mays and Michael Cassadante to the Charter Review Commission to expire 6/30/2019.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto, to reaffirm the mayor's appointment of Cameron Mays and Michael Cassadante to the Charter Review Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2019. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bianalillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Koski?
Yes.
Levin?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
We're going to do business. This is a city pay period adjustment. This item, our pay period is every other Friday in the city. So every X amount of years, I don't know the number offhand, there's a 27th pay period on a Friday, and it means we have to budget an extra $100,000 on there. So I'd like to put this in a committee to discuss possibly moving to the 1st and 15th pay period for the city, so we don't ever have to come to that problem ever again. So I will move, put city pay period adjustment into the committee of the whole. Okay, we'll move into ordinances.
Ordinance number 2018-03, an ordinance amending chapter 17107, hospitalization of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, second reading. Ordinance number 2018-09, an ordinance amending chapter 92105, collection of costs of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, first reading. Ordinance number 2018-10, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a contract with the Ohio Plan Agent Love Insurance Agency for the provision of liability insurance coverage for the city and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Diallo, that the rules of council be suspended and ordinance number 2018-10 be put on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Candelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
McCoskey?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Diallo, that ordinance number 2018-10 be adopted as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Candelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
McCoskey?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2018-11, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a contract with Travelers Agent Love Insurance Agency for the provision of cyber liability insurance coverage for the city, declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilwoman Kowski, that the rules of council be suspended and ordinance 2018-11 be put on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Just a question on this. If I'm understanding this ordinance correctly, this is for someone comes in, gets into our data and distributes it. It's not necessarily someone gets into our system, causes some kind of hardware damage. Correct?
Did you meet with them recently, Mayor?
We did, yeah, just last week, I believe it was. So yeah, it has nothing to do with the hardware.
Okay.
Correct.
And this was new last year when the previous mayor, Margalis, and myself met with our insurance agent. This was a new provision that they recommended that the city get with the cyber liability. It's becoming more of an issue, standard what municipalities do. So this is something we haven't had in the past. I believe last year was the first year we have it. This is our second year.
I just couldn't remember if there was something in there where if somebody hacks into our system, fries a server or something like that is covered.
Yeah, I agree with the mayor. It doesn't cover hardware on cyber attack. It's more, I think, for liability if information was leaked from our system, things like that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Candelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
McCoskey?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilwoman Kowski, that ordinance 2018-11 be adopted as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Candelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
McCoskey?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Seeing no resolutions, move on to other legislation. Miscellaneous. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Diallo for adjournment. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Candelo? Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
McCoskey?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.